I watched that clip 5 times like everyone else. Harry walks past a line of soldiers. They stand frozen. No nod, no smile, no salute. The internet stamps it as a snub and calls it a day. Easy story, right? Not really. The video is short, and short clips love drama. They skip context, they skip rules, and they skip the boring part that actually explains what you're seeing. I get why people reacted. Harry used to be the guy in uniform. Seeing him glide by stone still faces hits hard. It looks cold. It looks personal. But looks can lie. What if nothing happened because the soldiers were doing exactly what they're trained to do? Hold position, ignore distractions, and keep eyes front. That silence might be discipline, not shade. The story gets spicier when you bring in the rulebook, and yeah, that part changes how the whole moment reads. And the rulebook explains the silence. I pulled up the actual rules because the internet never does. Soldiers don't hand out salutes like stickers. They salute in set moments, during the ceremony, when they're in full kit with the cap on, and to the right people in the chain of command. A guard on post is basically a statue with a pulse, eyes front. No chit-chat, no side glances. If Beyoncé walked past, the stance wouldn't budge. And here's the part folks skip. You don't salute a civilian. If someone's out of uniform and not your commanding officer, or the royal principal you're posted for, you keep your bearing. That ice-cold silence? That's training doing its job. It's not petty. It's a procedure, which makes the clip less gotcha, and more, that's how guard duty looks. So the real question isn't why they didn't move. It's whether Harry still triggers any of those courtesies. And that depends on what he is. Now, here's where the gears click. Harry, the officer in Afghanistan, and Harry, the civilian in a suit, are two different roles. When he wore the uniform, he fit the rule book. Rank, salutes, the whole system. Now he's stepped back from royal duties. And most of the time he shows up as a famous private citizen. No rank on display, no command relationship, no reason for a guard on post to move a muscle. That shift isn't emotional, it's bureaucratic. The uniform is a language, and he isn't speaking it anymore. That's why the moment looks colder on video than it is in real life. The rules stopped treating him like an active part of the machine, so the machine stayed quiet. And once you see that, the clip changes. It's not they iced him, it's they followed orders. But of course, the internet doesn't love rules. It loves a verdict. And that's where things explode next. I blinked and the clip had 1,000 captions. Total snub, karma, respect revoked. Add slow-mo, dramatic music, and boom, the storyline writes itself. That's the trick online. A 5-second silence becomes a whole morality play. People pick a team and shout. I checked the basics. No official statement, no rule broken that anyone can point to. Just a short video getting stretched into a huge takeaway. Some channels swear this was payback. Others swear it was nothing. Both sides talk like they were there, clipboard in hand. The truth is simpler and less spicy. A guard did guard things, and the internet did internet things. Outrage gets clicks. Nuance gets ignored. And when you mix Harry's history with a quiet frame of soldiers, you get instant fuel. Still, the real heat isn't online. It's what happens off camera. Those short, careful meetings with no smiles and no sound bites. That's where the story actually moves. And that's where we're going next. I don't have a mic under the teacup, so here's the honest lane. Reports say the meeting was short, polite, and tightly managed. No photos, no warm statement. Just a quiet sit-down that started and ended before anyone could spin it as a grand reunion. Insiders claim it felt businesslike, more calendar check than heart-to-heart. Maybe they cleared a few things. Maybe they just kept it civil. That's the fog we're in. What we do know is that He Palace loves silence more than speeches. When there's no official picture, the public fills in their own. One side imagines a thaw. The other side imagines a door barely cracked open. I'm not picking a fantasy. I'm saying the lack of optics is the optic. If there was a hug, we'd have seen it. If there was a breakthrough, someone would have whispered it. So the tea stays lukewarm, and the clip outside does the heavy lifting. The protocol explains the still faces. Optics make them look like ice. And that's the next twist. How the rulebook and the camera fought each other, and the camera won. Here's why the clip stings even if the rules were followed. Cameras don't film rulebooks, they film faces. A still guard reads as rejection on screen, even when it's just muscle memory and orders. We all remember Harry in uniform. Medals, cap, straight back, the works. That image is burned in. Now put that memory next to a suit, a tense smile, and a wall of statues. Your brain fills the gap. They froze him out. The lens loves a clean story, and silence is the cleanest story of all. No messy quotes, no context, just a prince gliding through quietly like he doesn't belong there anymore. It looks personal because the past version of him would have triggered a snap to attention moment. Today's version doesn't. Same hallway, different rules. And the twist? The more disciplined the guard, the harsher it plays. Perfect posture becomes perfect shade. That's why the internet ran with it, and why people dug in on both sides like it was a courtroom. But that wasn't the whole story. Outside the frame, you've got fans, press, and the forces themselves reading the same moment three different ways. And that split screen is where the real fight lives. I scrolled the comments, and it felt like two countries watching two different films. Supporters say Harry broke out of a tight system and spoke up, so the cold vibe proves their point. Tradition punishes anyone who steps off script. Critics say he cashed in on family drama, then expected the same courtesies as before. Same clip, opposite morals. The press, they pour gasoline with neat headlines and zero breathing room. Every eyebrow becomes a thesis. Every pause turns into sources say. But the forces live on a different planet. Orders beat opinions. Full stop. A guard on duty isn't weighing Netflix versus Palace. He's thinking, don't move, don't blink, don't mess it up. That's why the moment plays like judgment to the public and like Tuesday to the regiment. And that tension won't vanish. Harry's image is split screen now. Veteran advocate on one side, royal disruptor on the other. Which version people buy changes how they read 2 seconds of silence. But that wasn't the whole story, because the next part is the only part that actually matters, what this means next. So here's where I land. If Harry wants warmth, protocol won't give it to him. People will. A guard can't nod. A camera can't hug. Only a person can. That means any welcome back won't show up in a salute. It shows up in small human moves, private calls, real invites, shared work that isn't staged. And he does have a lane that actually fits. Veterans, rehab, recovery, the stuff he's pushed for years. When he's standing with wounded service members or families who need help, the noise drops. The work speaks louder than the clips. But optics still matter. If he keeps walking into royal spaces as a civilian, the footage will always look colder than the truth. The rulebook won't flex for feelings. And the public will keep reading silence as shade because that's what silence looks like on a screen. So the choice is simple and hard at the same time. Double down on the causes where he's effective, or chase symbolic moments that keep turning into internet trials. One road earns quiet respect over time. The other road earns views and headaches. I'm not pretending there's a magic reset. Doors don't swing open because a video goes viral. They open when trust gets rebuilt brick by brick, and that takes more than tea and headlines. Maybe the palace stays distant. Maybe the family warms up off camera first. Maybe nothing changes for a long while. That's all on the table. A 5-second clip doesn't decide a life. Protocol is cold because it has to be. Cameras are dramatic because they want to be. If Harry wants a different story, it won't come from guards who can't move or from lenses that love tension. It comes from a steady grind. Show up where the help is needed. Keep the focus off the feud and let time make the case. Clips fade. Rules don't. And the only thing that really survives the noise is the work.